Hello everyone, Steven here from Red Essence with another fragrance review. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please don't forget to subscribe for future videos and frequent giveaways by clicking the link down below. Today, I am very happy to be sharing with you my take on a fragrance from the house of Ellis, and the fragrance is called 360 for Men. Here is the bottle. This fragrance was released in 1995, and unfortunately I could not locate any information on who the perfumer is. So of course, Ellis is a very popular fashion brand. They have been around since the 1970s, but it wasn't until 1985 when they decided to branch out into fragrances and accessories. And they did so by releasing a couple of fragrances simply entitled Ellis for him and Ellis for her. 10 years later, they released this fragrance, and ever since they have been pretty consistent with their fragrance releases, with the most recent one being released just this year in 2014, and I think it's called Cobalt. There have been a lot of changes in the Ellis house. At one point they were under the direction of Marc Jacobs. They were also under the direction of Tom Ford. Presently, I don't know who the creative director is, but I do know that the parent company is Phallic Fragrance Group. Now, I do want to mention this is the original 360. There are several different versions of this fragrance, or even flankers of this fragrance if you will, and 5 to be precise. So they do have the original, which is the one that I'm reviewing. They also have 360 Red, which is supposed to be a spicier version of Armani's Acqua di Gio. They have 360 White, 360 Blue, and 360 Black. So I'm going to be letting you know what I think of the original 360, but next up, let's take a look at the presentation. 360 for Men by Ellis is available in 4 different bottle sizes. You have the 0.25 ounce mini, the 1.7 ounce bottle, which is the one that you see here, the 3.4 ounce bottle, which is twice the size, and then you have the big 6.7 ounce bottle. This fragrance is only available in eau de toilette concentration. So first up, let's take a look at the box, and this box is actually very reminiscent of the Ed Hardy boxes. It's just a pretty simple cylindrical box going along with that whole 360-degree theme. It's gray/silver in color. You have the name of the fragrance, the name of the house, and then down here at the bottom you have some more information like the concentration and the size, and then the ingredients on the back. So the top comes off, and on the inside you have this lining of cardboard paper in a very corrugated fashion, which serves as a cushion so that the bottle doesn't rattle around too much in there. I think that was a nice touch, but again, nothing too much to marvel at. And as far as the bottle goes, here it is. You have, again, a cylindrical bottle with this turquoise colored juice on the inside. You have Ellis engraved into the neck of the bottle. Nowhere on this bottle, though, does it say 360 or that it's for men. Even on the bottom of the sticker, it just says Ellis, the serial number, and Phallic Fragrance Group. That's a pretty interesting name. Alright, so the cap here is a very cheap plastic. It's lightweight. Again, it's spherical, kind of going along and corresponding with that whole 360 theme. And the atomizer for this fragrance is not the best. It gives you an okay distribution, and it certainly gets the job done. And that has pretty much been the presentation of Ellis 360 for Men. 360 for Men is a lavender-based fragrance, and right away we need to be very careful because lavender, especially synthetic lavender in the United States, is used in a multitude of different products, from air fresheners to household cleaners to other products of that type. And unfortunately, that is the thought that this fragrance evokes to me. Maybe if the lavender were a little bit more natural, maybe if it were blended a little bit better, it wouldn't evoke those thoughts, but unfortunately, it does. There is one fragrance that I have in my collection that is a really, really beautiful take on the note of lavender, and that is Frank No. 2 by Frank Los Angeles. This fragrance does contain a strong lavender note, but it also has this unconventional, contemporary, juicy, beautiful plum note in the opening that adds this really nice, playful, and youthful sweetness. Now, this is classified as a fruity fragrance too, but the fruit that's used in this fragrance is juniper berry. And juniper berry isn't sweet like raspberry and blueberry and even blackberry. Juniper berry actually has a very sharp and astringent smell that I think is very polarizing, just like the lavender note. So it's kind of like adding insult to injury. Juniper berry is even used in the fermentation of many alcoholic spirits. And I know for a fact when I smell some really strongly concentrated alcohol, I do have a tendency of cringing. I do think that this fragrance does have some redeeming properties though. It does have the note of lemon and also bergamot. Unfortunately, I think the lemon is a little bit stronger than the bergamot, which gives it a slightly sour smell, and because of its volatility, it does evaporate very quickly, and that slight freshness that you got in the opening, it's no longer there. It has dissipated. It also contains a little bit of cardamom, which gave me some hopeful optimism, thinking that it's going to make it somewhat modern or contemporary, but again, it's not too strong, and it's even a little bit powdery, which again is not going to appeal to everyone. If you want a more youthful or a more contemporary take on the note of lavender, I would highly recommend you check out Luna Rosa by Prada. I think this is a beautiful take on lavender in conjunction with the note of iris, which gives you a very slightly soapy quality, but a very fresh quality. It has some citrus that lasts, and I actually get compliments wearing this fragrance. I have never received compliments wearing 360 Original. As a matter of fact, I wore it in front of my girlfriend one day when I was testing it out for this review, and she said, "Why don't you go take a shower? You're reminding me of my uncle." So this fragrance does have a very dated smell to it. Actually, I can't really imagine anybody younger than 45 wearing this fragrance. And I know it sounds a little bit harsh, but as it caters to my personal taste, I just really don't like it. I'm not saying that it's a bad fragrance. Now, I tried to give this fragrance some credit, and I thought to myself, well, maybe it smells like this because it was released 20 years ago. But then I started to think of other fragrances that were released between 1994 and 1996. And you have Lotus et Pour Homme by Issey Miyake, you have Le Male by Jean-Paul Gaultier, Angel Men by Thierry Mugler, even Acqua di Gio by Giorgio Armani. So I think in comparison to those very successful powerhouse fragrances, this one just fell very short of the competition, and in the end it's just not a very good fragrance to my nose. Thanks for watching. Last up we have the rating. First up we have uniqueness and overall smell, and I ended up giving this fragrance a 3 out of 10. I do think that this smells a little bit too mature, a little bit too dated, a little bit too synthetic, and the lavender note is not combined very well or blended very well with other notes. So for that reason, it doesn't cater too well to my personal taste, and when you compare it to other really popular fragrances that were released within that same time period, I think that this fragrance just falls short of the competition, and they could have done a lot better with it. Next up we have longevity, and I gave it a 6 out of 10. This is an eau de toilette concentration, so 4 to 6 hours is expected, and I have gotten 6 hours at most from this fragrance on my skin. For projection, I give this fragrance a 5 out of 10. The projection on this fragrance is okay for the first couple of hours, and then it starts to sit closer to the skin, almost becoming a skin scent. But be careful, do not apply liberally, because this is the kind of fragrance that will get people to say that you are the too much cologne wearer. So I think that this fragrance could be cloying, so just be careful with application. Next up we have versatility, and despite what I think about the smell, I do think that this is a very versatile fragrance, and I gave it an 8 out of 10. I don't think that this is a unisex fragrance because it is a little bit too masculine, and I think that this could work in every social scenario with the exception of a night out. I think that it lacks that sweet, youthful appeal that night out fragrances should contain, and I do think that this is a year-round fragrance. Unfortunately, I think that because of its mature feel, this would work better for an older gentleman, perhaps someone 40 and up, even 45 and up. Last up we have the presentation. I already told you what I think about that. I'm not really too sure what the 360 is supposed to represent. Unfortunately, I have not done a 360 on liking this fragrance, and I gave it a 5 out of 10 for presentation, and then that brings me to an overall rating or an average score of 3 out of 10. Unfortunately, like I said, this fragrance does not cater too well to my personal taste. I'm not saying it's a bad fragrance, I just don't like it. I think that this would work a lot better on an older gentleman, perhaps somebody in their 40s and up, and I can definitely see people defending this fragrance, especially if you have nostalgic properties, or if you wore it a lot when you were in high school or when you were an undergrad. I can see people having fond memories of this fragrance, but I think that there have been so many advancements and improvements in the fragrance industry that there are just so many better options for you out there. So guys, thank you so much for watching. That was my review of Perry Ellis 360 for Men. If you own or have tried this fragrance, please let me know what you think by leaving a comment down below. Also, please don't forget to comment, rate, and subscribe for future videos and frequent giveaways. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please feel free to shoot me a message and I will try to get back to you as soon as possible. So again guys, thank you so much for watching. This has been Steven with another fragrance review from Red Essence. See you soon.